my name is Mani and I'm a rising senior at Doherty Valley High School. Today I'll be showing you my milestone 1 for my object detection on my Raspberry Pi. On the screen is my Raspberry Pi build. It contains the main board and also the attached camera module. In addition to the CPU and RAM, the main board contains the power input, the USB/HDMI ports, and also the main camera module port. I loaded the Raspbian OS onto the Raspberry's microSD card using the Pi imager. These are the main components I'll be using for my object detection. I was able to view the Raspbian operating system on the Raspberry Pi and actually access the Raspberry Pi using VNC, which essentially streams the Raspberry Pi onto your computer. With this, I was able to start writing scripts and operating the Raspberry Pi on my computer without an external monitor. My first course of action was to test whether my camera module and Raspberry Pi were working. To do this, I created a simple script that would enable the Pi camera and start a preview. As you can see on the screen, it only has 3 lines, and I was able to start the Raspberry Pi's camera and confirm it was working. To test object detection, I decided to use TensorFlow. With this, I was able to use Google's pre-made model, which contained images and annotations that were already pre-trained, and I loaded it onto the Raspberry Pi. With this, I was able to confirm that the Raspberry Pi can handle object detection, and I was also able to get a good measure of the objects it was able to detect. However, later on I will be using my own model, which will contain images and annotations that I have collected myself, and also a model that I will be training myself. As you can see, this specific model pre-trained by Google is not only able to identify one object, but multiple. The Raspberry Pi was able to identify a phone, a car, a toy car, and also a mouse, which were on my table.